ESPN's predictions right for the Lakers is the best they can do this season, finishing 5th in the Western Conference. I'm not buying it for 1 second. I believe the Lakers can finish much, much higher, and we're going to explain how they can. Stay tuned. You're watching Lakers Report by Chat Sports, all things Lakers. I'm your host, Hannah Kulik, aka Laker Han. Now, ESPN has come out with their predictions for this season, and they have said that the Lakers will finish 5th place in the Western Conference behind the Utah Jazz, the Denver Nuggets, the Houston Rockets, and the Los Angeles Clippers. They've also said that the Lakers are going to finish the season with 51 games. Now, this is not bad. You know, finishing 5th in a very competitive Western Conference is not bad. Winning 51 games is going to be a drastic improvement from us for the last few years, but at the end of the day, I don't necessarily agree with this. I think that the Lakers are definitely a top 3 seed. I don't think that they are going to be, 5th. I think they could definitely be in the top 3. I don't even understand why they can't be number 1. Now, obviously, ESPN did have a lot of these other teams, coming in very close, so it's a long season. Anything can happen, and the Lakers could end up sliding in there, but at the end of the day, I don't even necessarily agree with their predictions that it's going to be Utah and Denver up there ahead of the purple and gold, because I believe that actually it's going to be the Golden State Warriors, the Houston Rockets, and then of course the Clippers, who are going to be giving the Lakers the biggest problems in the West. But at the end of the day, I still believe that the Lakers could come out on top in a match against any of those teams. So today I thought we could compare each of those 3 teams, compare the rosters, compare the stats, and kind of talk about who really does have the advantage. Now, before we get into it and talk about it with our first team here, the Golden State Warriors, I want to make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. We are so close to 5K here on this new Lakers channel, so make sure that you are not only subscribed to Chat Sports, but the new Lakers YouTube channel as well, to keep up with all things purple and gold. And while you're at it, go ahead and give me a follow both on IG at Hannah Rose Kulik and on Twitter at Hannah_Kulik for all things Lakers, and of course some fitness related stuff as well. But let's move on to comparing our first team here. Now, the Golden State Warriors. Obviously a team that, the last 5 or so years have really ruled the West, but it's going to be a little bit different this season. They lost Kevin Durant and Andre Iguodala in free agency. Now, they still have Steph Curry. They still have Klay Thompson when he comes back. He's going to be missing most of the season due to a knee injury, but when he comes back, he will still be a part of that squad. They have Draymond Green, and they did acquire D'Angelo Russell this summer during free agency. So they still have a lot to keep them being competitive in the West. Now, they're definitely not going to be as competitive as they once were, but they're still going to be a team, and I also think they are going to be able to perform much better than a lot of people are expecting them to, if of course D'Angelo Russell has a season like he had last year for the Brooklyn Nets. Last season for the Brooklyn Nets, D'Angelo Russell was an Eastern All-Star. He averaged career highs, 21 points per game, to go along with 7 assists and 4 rebounds. Now, a lot obviously depends for Golden State season on how D'Angelo Russell plays. If he plays like how he did last year, then they're pretty golden. I think they have a really good shot. They're going to have a talented team. It's going to be exciting to watch. But, D'Angelo Russell has struggled with knee injuries. He's really struggled throughout his entire career to stay healthy. Last year was the first season in his entire career where he was able to play in all 81 games. And besides that, D'Lo is known to be a little bit lazy, a little lackadaisical, not necessarily the hardest worker in the room. But if he is able to stay healthy, then a backcourt that features Steph and D'Lo could be very exciting to watch. Now, in the front court, Golden State is going to have Draymond Green, Kevin Looney, and Willie Cauley-Stein. Now, a couple things that I do want to talk about when you're discussing Golden State this season is the fact that they don't have as many talented role players as they've had in the past. Golden State has always been known for having these guys come off the bench, really give them an offensive spark. But this season, they don't really have that. They don't have the Harrison Barnes, the Andre Iguodala, even the Quinn Cook, the JaVale McGee's, because the Lakers have Quinn Cook and JaVale McGee now. So if you are looking at the Golden State's roster and the Lakers roster, comparing from top to bottom, it is a no-brainer that the Lakers have a deeper bench, a much deeper team overall. Now, another thing that I think is going to be the Achilles heel for the Golden State Warriors this season is their defense. So like I mentioned, D'Angelo Russell and Steph Curry in the backcourt is exciting offensively potentially, but defensively, there's going to be a lot of problems. You know, D'Lo's not a great defender, Steph's not a great defender, and the reason that it worked so well for Golden State before is because they had Klay Thompson in the backcourt, and like I mentioned earlier, Thompson is most likely going to be missing most of, if not the whole season, with that knee injury. So D'Lo's not the best defender, Steph Curry's not the best defender, so that's really going to hurt them there. So if you're comparing Golden State, you know, besides just the roster and the Lakers having the advantage in terms of overall depth, another thing the Lakers definitely have the advantage of is, of course, their defense. You know, we have Dwight Howard, who's been, you know, one of the best defenders in the league. Anthony Davis is a terrific defender. We have Danny Green, a terrific defender. Avery Bradley, great defender. We have a lot of really good defenders on our team. So if you are looking at Golden State, at the end of the day, they're going to be a talented team. A lot does ride on D'Angelo Russell, but I'm going to definitely give the Lakers having this advantage, not only because of their depth and their overall talent, but also because of their defense. And I think that is going to be one of the Warriors' biggest struggles. But at the end of the day, like I mentioned, you know, the Warriors' biggest key to their season this season is going to really be D'Angelo Russell. You know, if he has that year that he had before, it could really work out, or if not, there could definitely be some problems, and we may even see Golden State going this season and actually missing the playoffs. I know it would be pretty crazy, but it is definitely possible. But I want to hear from you guys. Do you guys think picking up D'Angelo Russell was a good move for the Warriors? If you do, type Y down below. If not, type N down below. Now, before we move on and discuss a couple of our other teams that I think are going to possibly give the Lakers the biggest run for their money and really kind of break it down and discuss which team really does have the advantage, I have a quick question. Do you guys have a FanDuel account? If you do not yet have a FanDuel account, go DM me right now, because I am starting my own NFL league and I want to play with my Laker fam. So if you do not have one, go message me. I will explain to you how you can sign up. It is so easy. It is free, and then once you do so, you can go join my NFL league. So go DM me right now and I will explain to you how it is all done. Super easy, and I would love to play and have you in my league. But let's move on, because the second team here today that we are going to be comparing with the Lakers, seeing who really does have the advantage, is the Houston Rockets. Now, the Houston Rockets are going to be a pretty darn good team. You know, they have James Harden, they have Russell Westbrook, and yes, those are two very talented players, but something that we could talk about is how those two players are going to work together. You know, they are two very ball dominant players. They are two guys who are used to being stars, the leaders of their team. And, you know, as we know, James Harden really is the leader of the Houston Rockets. And Russell Westbrook coming in, is he going to be able to accept that? You know, Westbrook has always been the main man in Oklahoma. He's always been the guy who's had the ball in his hands constantly, but now it's going to be a little bit of a different story. It's going to be interesting to see, because obviously these two are friends. They've played together back in OKC, but a lot has changed since then. James Harden was not the superstar that he is now back when he played for OKC, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see how that all factors out. Now, besides Harden and Westbrook, you know, the Houston Rockets have Clint Capela, who's going to be coming back after, you know, missing most of the season with injuries. They also have PJ Tucker and Eric Gordon. Now, while the Rockets do have some talent, one of their biggest problems is the fact that they are very guard heavy. You know, Eric Gordon is only 6'4". He's most of his career really played shooting guard, but he's going to have to play out of position, play that 3 for them this season, because they are so guard heavy. So when you picture, you know, Eric Gordon going up against LeBron James, that's pretty laughable. That's a joke. You can't even really compare those two, say those two in the same sentence. And then, of course, you know, having PJ Tucker, their other starting forward, going up against AD. You know, PJ Tucker's 6'6", AD 6'10", one of the best players in the league. It's just not going to end well for PJ Tucker. So it really is going to come down to James Harden and Russell Westbrook for this team. And James Harden, as we all know, is one of the best players in the league, one of the best scorers. He's truly unstoppable when he he has the ball in his hands. If he doesn't score, he just gets fouled, gets to the line. It's pretty crazy. But his shooting percentage, you know, he's not the most efficient scorer. Last season, he only shot 44%. And then, of course, we've seen Russell Westbrook, especially last season, his stats and his shooting percentage really dropped down. Last season, Russell only averaged 43% from the floor and a horrible 29% from three. So it really is just going to come down to Harden and Westbrook, and then of course the health of Clint Capela, because the Rockets' only backup center is Tyson Chandler, who us Laker fans know, you know, he's a good player, but he is very old now. He's way past his prime. He can only play, you know, a handful of minutes a night. So if something were to happen to Clint Capela, that would drastically impact them for their season. Now, the Rockets do have some talented reserve guys. They have Austin Rivers and Gerald Henderson, but again, those are guards. They are just so guard heavy. It really is actually pretty interesting to see because they have not a lot of depth on this team. They do have some talented guys, but they are really lacking, especially at that forward position. So I'm gonna be curious to see how that kind of plays out for them. So if I am, you know, comparing the rosters between the Houston Rockets and the Lakers, I am still going to give this advantage to the Los Angeles Lakers because the Lakers are the deeper team. We have talent at every position, and you know, we've got a lot of backup options in case, knock on wood, anything does happen for injuries. But at the end of the day, the Rockets are a very good team. They are going to be giving a lot of teams, not just the purple and gold, a big run for their money. If, of course, Harden and Westbrook are able to play together. We're just going to have to wait and see, but I'm definitely very curious and very excited to see if they are. So I am curious, though, who do you think is the better team? Am I just being biased, or do you think that I am right when I say the Lakers are the better team over the Houston Rockets? If you think it's the Houston Rockets, type H down below, or if you think it is our Los Angeles Lakers, type L down below. Now moving on, because the #1 team, this is the team that everyone's talking about because suddenly they are not only the favorites to win the West, but they are also the favorites to win that NBA title. I gotta talk about the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, the Clippers, having Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, yes, it does greatly increase their chances at winning a title. Definitely is going to make them one of the biggest competitors in the West and just in the league in general. But let's be realistic here, you guys. First of all, I do want to point out that, you know, Paul George he had double shoulder surgery this summer, so he's not going to even be able to play for the first month or so of the season. So when he does return, there's obviously going to be a little bit of an adjustment period there. And Kawhi Leonard is another player who has really struggled with injuries throughout his career. Last season, we did see he was healthy, but he also had a very long, taxing season last year coming off that NBA championship. So it's going to be interesting to see how he's able to bounce back. But notoriously, these two guys have had some injuries. So that is going to be something that we have to keep in mind there. Now, another thing that we have to look at when we are talking about this Clippers team, some problems that they are definitely going to have is that center position, because their starting center is Ivica Zubac. Now, I have a little bit of a soft spot for him. Obviously, he's a former Laker. I think he has a lot of potential, but he is really their only center, you guys, and that is pretty crazy. To have Zubac be that starting center on a team that wants to be a championship contending team is maybe not the best bet, because the thought of Zubac going up against Dwight Howard, Anthony Davis, even JaVale McGee, you guys, it's just not going to end well for Zoo. I don't even want it to happen because I don't want to see Zoo get embarrassed like that, because like I said, I do like Zubac, but it's just not going to be the matchup that is going to be good in his favor. So the Lakers definitely have the advantage when it comes to the center position. Now, another thing with this Clippers team is they are going to be playing a lot of small ball. You know, they have a lot of kind of like 6'6", 6'7", guards, forwards, and stuff. So they're going to be relying a lot on small ball. So that's not going to match up against the Lakers just in general as well. Again, because, you know, we have AD, we have Dwight Howard, we have JaVale McGee. We have a lot of really big guys, talented guys who are going to give them some problems. Now, another area where the Clippers really fall off is in their backcourt. They have Pat Beverly, who people are saying that Patrick Beverly is like, you know, they're making it seem like he's one of the best point guards that your team can have. He is not. He is a good defender, but he is not much of a scorer. He doesn't really do that much, you know, shooting the ball, scoring the ball. So yes, he's a good defender. And then they of course have Lou Williams, who is former 6th man of the year. He's a great scorer, really hot shooter, but kind of streaky shooter, let's be honest. And another thing though, when you've got to kind of look at those two guys, Pat Beverly and Lou Williams, is that they are both 6'1", so they are most likely not going to be out on the floor together at the same time, because that's just going to give them, you know, a super small lineup. And especially if you're playing a team like the Lakers, will easily have the advantage there. So most likely Lou and Pat Beverly, who are their two kind of key role players, are not going to be on the court at the same time. Now just kind of taking a little bit of a look here at the Clippers lineup versus the Los Angeles Lakers starting lineup. You know, in the front court, let's talk a little bit about the front court, because I think that is where, obviously, where the Clippers' strength is in their front court. And obviously that's something that the Lakers, one of their strengths in as well, as their front court. So now the Clippers have a front court that features Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Montrezl Harrell, comparing that to the Lakers' front court of LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Kyle Kuzma. I may be a little biased, but I still think that the Lakers have the advantage in that front court, you guys. We have LeBron, we have AD, we have Kyle Kuz, who I'm expecting to make a huge jump this season. Now, even let's just take a little bit of a look of Anthony Davis and Paul George, because I think those are kind of the two guys that people like to compare. AD versus Paul George. I am definitely going to give the advantage to Anthony Davis for many reasons. First of all, his size, his talent, his skill set. He can really do everything, you guys. The Lakers have not had a player like Anthony Davis since, honestly, I can't even remember the last time. He is one of the best players in the league. He's still so young. He's just entering his prime. And in the playoffs, you know, AD has only made it to 2 playoff appearances, but in that time, he has proven that he can be a leader in that playoffs and really help his team that way. Both of his playoff appearances, he averaged at least 30 points and double-digit rebounds, whereas Paul George is known for being a guy who kind of just disappears in the playoffs and is not much of a leader and much of a contributor in the playoffs, which is obviously something that if you're looking to go deep in the playoffs, win that championship, is not something that you're really excited about and that you are looking for in your second superstar. And then of course, you know, we've got to obviously compare Kawhi and LeBron. Those two guys are superstars. You can't really compare them. You know, Kawhi obviously is a little bit younger than LeBron, but never count the king out. He's hungry. He's ready for a championship. He's paired up with Anthony Davis. He knows he only has a few years left to play. He wants to win as many championships as possible, guys. So LeBron James, never count the king out. Obviously, those two guys are championship contending guys. Those are champions. They know how to win in the clutch. Those are the two guys that you want on your team if you were trying to go to the NBA championship. So obviously, you know, the Clippers are going to be the Lakers' biggest competitor in the West, just their biggest competitor overall in general, especially because they both are two Los Angeles teams. But I still believe, call me crazy, I still believe that the Lakers have the advantage over the Clippers. But I am curious, do you think I am way off? Do you think I am just way too much of a Laker fan to be able to admit that the Clippers actually have a better team? Let me know down in the comments below, which out of these 3 teams do you think is actually going to be the Lakers' biggest competitor? Or do you think it really could be the Utah Jazz or the Denver Nuggets like ESPN predicted? Let me know down below as well. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to give it a double thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe here on Chat Sports and to the new Lakers YouTube channel. And until next time, Laker Han is out. Bye guys!